else can see this later, since I forgot to record the previous session. Okay, so thank you all for being here. I'm really, really excited. I'm seeing, just by looking at who was coming in, and I hope more people come in. I'm seeing people from that are in different stages, people that have Rapido, people that do not have Rapido, people that are on implementation, early stages, later stages, live. So it's really, really nice to see that kind of composition. And really what we'll try to do in this monthly update is we'll cover some aspects that for some of you will be maybe if you haven't yet started the integration or you don't know Rapido, might be a little bit advanced. For others, it will be more things that they know. But also we have some things that are for people that are in earlier stages. And what I want to suggest, this is the agenda. So we'll review what's happening with the Rapido community, and we'll talk about the March release that you should all have, at least Rapido Go Live should have in your sandboxes. But it gives a glimpse for those of you that are not there of what we're trying to achieve and do in Rapido. And we'll talk about some frequent Go Live topics. What I suggest is that I'll run through the Rapido community and the Rapido March release. And since I can't really see you while I'm presenting and see your questions, I'll stop the sharing, and I invite you to have a lively discussion or questions, and then we'll go back to the last section, and hopefully we'll also have more time at the end for further questions or discussions. So I really want you to feel free. I know that you're all muted, but at a certain point I can unmute you and we can talk, or you can use the tools that this platform offers. And this is recorded again, and it will be also shared on demand. So for you guys to know, but still that doesn't mean that we cannot engage in a discussion. Okay, so where do we stand with the Rapido community? Actually, this is a very exciting time for Rapido. So we're starting to work on additional pods. We started to discuss the possibility of a Western pod, and we're discussing with our members in that area. And we have members that are approaching their go live, and also members that will soon start their implementation that are on that area of the US. And we're also starting to discuss what will suit a Canadian pod. So I'm placing here numbers that were discussed with some of the members, but I wanted to bring this up also to add to the discussion on how we will see this area of new networks expanding, and it's really exciting to be able to have these discussions with the community and see what fits and each region and what new communities we can create. So this is one of the beauties of Rapido. We can create any type of network that we want, and at least as pioneers, we can define the terms. Afterwards, if these terms do not suit everyone, we can create subgroups, etc. But I think that in terms of the community, it's a really great start, and also an opportunity to be part of this type of discussions. As part of becoming a more mature product, Rapido has already a lot of things that you will see that other mature products that Ex Libris has. And one of the things that we've opened up recently under the Knowledge Center, if you look for Rapido, so last year, at the beginning of last year, we added the documentation, and afterwards we added an implementation section. What we've added now is the community knowledge. And this is the place where you can share articles of workflows that maybe don't suit to be documented on the online help, but they are definitely good knowledge that we want to keep, not in base camps where not everyone is available to see the stuff, things that are more concise, and we want to keep them as knowledge. So I invite you. I don't know, I haven't checked today, maybe the section's still empty, but this is really an invitation for you to share your knowledge, create an article, and have it here as maybe you have done with other products. So would love to see you here. The other thing is that really I talked about this last month. I know it's taking time, but it's really a process. The Rapido user group is almost there. I know many of you have contacted our liaison for this user group. So still, I suppose there's going to be pretty soon communication on the group and what we're doing, but also if you're interested, just let me know and I can point you to the relevant persons and they'll be happy to hear from you. Another important point, we've talked about this in the past, maybe not everyone that's here knows about this, but we have the resource sharing directory and we're starting to promote the resource sharing directory. There is a session, a webinar on March 10th, 2 sessions, actually one that suits the time zone for our APAC customers and one that is best suited for Europe and North America. The people that are here that have Rapido are already defined in the directory, as you know. But if you want to know how to use it or you want to come to the session and learn more, definitely please, you're invited to register under the educational webinars page. But also the reason I'm putting this here is because I really encourage you to talk to your friends. Those that were interested, you talk to me individually, also asking if there's going to be a session, if there's going to be a recording, etc. So I do want you to let your friends know. We'll of course also announce this around next week so that people can have enough time to register. But if you have friends in Alma that you would like to see joining the directory, please let them know about this session. And we will also soon release a short video explaining this, how to add yourself and what it gives you beyond the webinar. So I will make sure that we distribute this and you can also distribute it to other institutions that you work with or that you're interested in working. So really exciting times for Rapido. Next month, we have some interesting go lives. And it's just simply very nice to see how the community is engaging and we hope to see more of that. With that, we'll move again into the March release. And again, as I said, I will stop sharing at the end of the session. So write down your either on the chat or your questions, or keep them, and then you'll be able to ask them directly. And I'll stop my sharing to address them. Okay, so what do we have in the March release first? And it's something that I've heard from many customers. There was no possibility to search borrowing and lending request by fulfillment request ID or by item barcode. What I'm showing you here is the borrowing side. So you can see here the upper Alma bar. So I'm looking for borrowing request, and these 2 new options have been added. So when I'm looking for borrowing request, of course, the fulfillment request ID will be the hold request that is created, and the item barcode will be the temporary barcode that is created. And as you can see here, you can also search from inside the borrowing request task list, the same options. We didn't forget, and they're here. They have been added. From the lending request, we did the same. From the top bar, you can see the options here. And when we talk about fulfillment request ID here, we're talking either by the digitization ID or by the move ID. And here you have the actual item barcode that you're looking for. And as I showed you before, of course, from the task list, you'll find these options as well. Okay, so this improves this. We've heard this many times, so I'm happy to be able to present it. I want to talk about an option that I'm almost sure that all of you are not going to use, I hope, but I know there's some of you that need it. And the reason I'm talking about this is because you might see this in the configuration, or maybe you do want to use it. So I do want to make you aware of it. In the past, we showed how it was possible to add cost for a physical item, and there was no option to add cost for a document delivery option. Again, this is very particular functionality, but it's available for everyone. And when I presented this the first time, I showed you that the functionality to add the cost was from the borrowing policies. It usually appears collapsed, so you just you don't actually see it as I'm showing it to you. You need to open it up. And what we had before the option to add cost for physical. We didn't have the column physical because it was irrelevant. Everyone knew that it was only for physical. Now we do have an indication. And if I want to add cost for the patron, I now have the option also to add a digital one. So the way to do this, here you see I clicked on the link, and I'm adding here cost for document delivery, digital, the type is digital. So if I go back for a second, once this is added, I will have another cost here of type digital. And then I need to define which user groups are relevant for this particular cost, and then simply either add another cost or simply close it and add the cost. Okay, this is the step that we're doing. This is relevant for document delivery that is coming from Rapido ILN. And what will happen after you do that, as you know that we're trying to be as visible as possible for our customers, is that if you add a cost, you can see here that the cost is added also to the offer, and of course it will be added after the resource is sent to the patron. It will be added to his fees, her fees, and again, I'm not, this is functionality we already had. If physical cost was added, it will be displayed, of course, on the physical offer side of things. Okay, so this is the cost I wanted you to be aware. Of course, is supported along all of the flow, so letters, etc. Are all supporting this functionality. There, usually we have this in specific European, for specific European customers. So they requested, they needed this for their workflows. A very important thing that is that we've done, and I don't know if you felt it, I hope that you felt it, and also it's something we discussed with some of you, is that we've improved and we continue to improve and look for other additional enhancements that could be done here. The performance of the Rapido offers. So if you recall, when you open up a full record and you want to receive the Rapido offers, you see the little diamonds telling you, indicating the user that the system is calculating something. And only then after you get the physical offer. So we've done a lot of work here in this area, many little coming from the different technical points of view to try to make it faster. It should be faster already. So I hope you've seen an improvement here, and for sure you'll see more improvements in the future. Again, trying to provide the best possible experience for our users, and you as the provider of the service, of the resource sharing service, enabling you to fine tune according to what you provide, to what you want your users to see. You can see here that I'm already looking for Mark Twain beyond my library scope, and actually I was looking only for images. So I got here, and I have the option to open this up. This is a resource of type image, and what we're adding this this release is really cool, is the option to, you can see here that an offer is displayed here, and what we are, maybe it doesn't make sense, and not for all resource types. So what we're adding with this release is the option to, for you to define for which resource sharing options you don't, for which resource types you don't want to display a Rapido offer. Of course, we're doing this through our standard mechanisms. So we're using the display logic rules that you probably already know if you're in live with Rapido, implementation with Rapido, or even don't have Rapido. So for Rapido, we have 4 different services that are used in order to control the offers. We have the resource sharing request, which is a higher level. It's talking about the highest level. When do I show a request? And any type of request. And then we have the very specific options like physical, journal, digital. We've added the resource type to any of the 4, but for me, it makes sense that you define it if you're going to use it at the level of the resource sharing request, but maybe no, I don't know, maybe you come with a specific story where you can see this on a particular type of offer, the journal, physical, or digital. But the idea is that you can select when not to display the service if a resource type is of a particular type. In this case, I'm using the image that I showed you before. This is really something that many of you had asked for. And just to be very clear, the resource types are the discovery resource types, as I showed you before. So I don't know what's on the cataloging record, but what we're taking is the discovery resource types. And when you open up the list here, you'll be able to see all of the resource types and determine what you want to hide. So I've added that display logic rule, and you can see here that now I get my specific message when the library has decided not to offer a resource sharing option. And this you know, and you know where to configure it. So now you need to start to think for which resource, for which types you want to maybe not show the Rapido offers. So little work, homework for you guys. Okay, so I'm moving forward. This is for, we have many customers in North America that are part of fulfillment networks. And we continue to enhance our the Rapido fulfillment network's capabilities. And maybe this is not relevant for all of you, but those that are part of this type of fulfillment networks, you can see here that we've added to the Rapido physical form, the option, if you're in this type of topology, the option to select the pickup institution. So in this particular case, you don't only have a pickup location, you have also pickup institution. Again, this is not relevant for everyone, but I did want to mention it in this forum because I know that we have customers that actually have this topology. You can see here that, of course, this information will be reflected on the request, and you can see the pickup location now has the institution and the pickup location. If you're not defined in a network, in a fulfillment network of this type, nothing changes for you. If you're defined in a network, the system will know how to show this, and it will be reflected again in the letters and all of our letters, the confirmation letter that contains the pickup location, etc. It also appears on the configuration of which fields should I show for the forms. What I do want to emphasize here is that you don't need to hide it. You don't need to do anything if you're not part of a fulfillment network. Anyways, this is not going to show up. But if you stumble upon the field in the configuration, you will see it there. So you can, if you wish to, you can play with it. But really, this is, it will work for those that need it, and it will continue to work for those that do not need it. And now moving to analytics, and I want to say a few things before we go into the particular developments here. So we are now giving a lot of focus on analytics. And one of the reasons is that, you know, we in Rapido, we try to, we have our big focus areas, okay? Sometimes we call it pillars, etc. So we have our patron experience pillar, and that's why we are trying to look at all times at either performance or fine-tuning those offers, etc. Of course, we talk about staff efficiencies. That's where you can see developments such as, for example, abilities to search by different parameters that are needed, and future developments that, you know, we've always discussed, like ebooks lending, control digital lending, etc. And the ecosystem is another very important area for us. That's the openness, that's the pillar of the openness. We're now also embarking on something that is more tied to customer success, in the sense that you're achieving from your Rapido what you wanted to achieve by implementing it. I will say something here in parentheses. Those of you that have gone live, there is a customer success team that will probably reach out soon, and you'll receive a letter from them. It's a team that should come after you finish your implementation, and they want to work with you on how you're doing. Are you, do you feel that Rapido is fitting your needs, etc.? And as part of this whole effort, we're also trying to improve the tools that we give you, so you can, by yourself, measure what you're doing in the system. So the first development that I want to show you is from the borrowing area, from the borrowing subject area. And what we've added here is the supplied format. So meaning these are requests that have finalized, and there has been a resource that was supplied. So you can see here how many digital, how many physical non-returnables. Of course, this data is, I don't know, but, and you can create every type of report that you want. You can drag, for example, the requested format versus the supplied format, and maybe measure what your patrons are your patrons getting what they wanted, maybe not, I don't know. So this is something that we wanted you to have from the borrowing perspective. From the lending, and we'll continue, we have more developments that we'll be showing in the future releases. The other development that we added on this release is from the lending subject area, from the lending requests, and it's the reject reason. Again, we believe that you want to measure whether your borrowing requests are fulfilled, but you also want to measure how you're doing as a lender. So the idea here is that you'll be able to report by this, and then analyze what's happening. Maybe you're getting the wrong requests. Maybe, I don't know, something's not working exactly as needed, etc. But at least now you have the tools to do some analysis in this area. Okay, I think this is what I wanted to cover from the March release. So it's an opportunity for me to stop sharing. And then I can see if, okay, I'm going to, with your permission, I'm going to unmute you, and you can mute yourselves again if you want to. So I'm going to unmute everyone, and I'll be glad to take your questions. If you prefer to write, you can write them, but if you want to talk, I would love to hear your voices. So I'm giving you the opportunity. Any questions until now on anything that we've covered?
Hey, Judith, this is Lori Hildebrand.
Lori.
I wanted to ask, I've seen online in reference to the Rapido list, email list, and I joined that yesterday. I wasn't aware that that was out there. Is that connected to the user group particularly? When you said the user group is about to kick off, will they be doing most of their conversation on that list?
So this is a very important point. I really want to thank you for bringing this up. And really, we saw that exchange in Alma, and thank you, Shelley, for pointing for the list. Actually, we've added that to our implementation process so that our customers know about it. I've also sent a lot of communication about it. Everyone is aware. Look, I see them titled and not titled. Okay, so from one point of view, this is a list that is managed by the community. So I don't manage the list. Okay, I try to send my updates to the list when I can. Of course, I also read what's on the list and reply if needed. But this is something like with any other Ex Libris product is the community manages. And I think that when you register someone from, I think it's Dave Allen needs to approve you, and it's a list that it's not, the ownership of the list is by the community. Okay, this is one thing. The user group has its own, it will have its own responsibility. This is part of why we haven't yet launched it, because it's very detailed. The communities here are very organized, and there has to be a head of the group, and there's people that are in charge of communication and people that are in charge of participating in webinars. There are people that there are different tasks in that group, or just participants, but it's really very organized. And I'm pretty sure that there is use of the list by the group. What I do envision in the future, and I would also like to ask the people here that were part or are part of our development partners, early adapters, we have a base camp, but this base camp is not open to the community. And I think that we need to start shifting those conversations to the list so they're open to all of the Rapido community. I really liked the conversation that was going on that, although it was an Alma list, but this is the type of things that I would like to see that the community is engaging with, like the mediation rules that I saw. So I do expect that some type of discussion will come through that channel. And it's very interesting to
for lunch soon.
How everyone uses it differently. So thank you, Lori. That was a very important point. So whoever is not in that list today should register.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Any more questions? We have time. Okay, I'm going to mute you all for a second, and you'll all have another opportunity later. And I'm going to reshare again my slides, and we'll cover our last topic, and then we can talk again. Okay, so we're moving to our next topic, which I usually try to bring some frequent go live topics, and I'm bringing two topics today. One is what is implementation mode. So for those of you that are live and have already gone through this process, bear with me. I know you've done it, so you know it, but I know many people have questions. For those of you that are already on implementation mode, you already know what happens, but I know that many of you don't know what happens, and I want to tell you a happy story. Shelley, I hope it's okay that I share, because we wanted to start implementation with one of our institutions, and we explained that nothing should happen. That was the basic assumption. Don't worry, of course, we understand there's worry about what happens when I move to implementation mode. Will my patrons see something different? Will my staff won't be able to work as usual? And we reconfirmed that really nothing needs to happen. But unfortunately, the day of the of the switch to implementation mode, the person that needed to do this was sick. And so it never happened. And the next day I received this letter of like, really nothing happened, but should really nothing happen? So I thought it was a good opportunity for those that are starting their implementation mode, about to start the implementation mode, in the future implementation mode, just to summarize it and have it very clear here. Okay, so the idea of the implementation mode is that you continue to work as you used to work previously, while everything continues exactly the same. While your the library staff that is actually involved in the project will have some capabilities that will enable you to test and look at the system and fine-tune it, change the labels, create the different options that you have in the system. So what really changes when you do this is the following three things, mainly. So once an institution is changed, moved to implementation mode, you will see in the Alma bar, the staff will see the access to the Rapido sets, but no one needs to really click here if they're not working on Rapido. What this enables you to see beyond the task list and the things that we have there, it will enable you to create the Rapido sets that you want. It will enable you to see some requests there depending on what stage of the implementation you are, etc. The other thing that you will have enabled is the resource sharing entry to the configuration of Rapido. So in configuration mode, those that have the ability to enter the configuration and see it will see an addition of resource sharing. Again, people that are not part of the project don't need to go there. And this will enable you to work on mediation rules from the borrowing side, copyright rules, letters, forms, all of the things that you need to work on while you're implementing. And again, not having an impact on your current system. And the last thing that you will be able to do is add to your discovery, this part, to the link to discovery, this little addition, this little suffix, and this will enable you to view, after you've done all of this work of configuring and seeing stuff, it will enable you to see how your users will experience Rapido. So really nothing happens, but something needs to happen. So this is what actually happens on implementation mode. So for those of you that are about to go into this, good luck. This is what you should see. Another question that was raised, and I'll put it here. I don't have a slide. I just want to talk, so I'll soon stop my sharing, is how are pods created and how are the terms defined? So I'll start with one maybe technical thing. We're trying to give visibility of our pods and the members in the pod. So you can find this on the Knowledge Center. If you look for Rapido, under the documentation, there's an entry with pods and it has the terms. And we really hope that this list grows infinitely. And the idea of behind the pods, I just mentioned this at the beginning, so I'm kind of wrapping the presentation, is that really we have the capabilities to do whatever our communities need. So we are not really limited, or we can do whatever you guys need. So we can create more pods as we need, etc. The terms, usually there's kind of a starting point for terms, and then it's very difficult to change them. So I don't think we're planning to make huge changes to pods where there's already a big community, or ways we can discuss with the community if there needs to be a change. But the idea is that now we're establishing the most basic component of the terms. But of course, we expect that there might be changes as we go. So if, for example, we're talking about the Canadian pod now, we need to engage in a discussion. What will suit a wide Canadian pod loan terms? They differ a little bit from the US pods that we've seen. And we need to get to an agreement that will fit most of our Canadian institutions. But I do expect that at some point we will have subgroups that are doing something different, because maybe they have, just to explain, maybe there's a courier between them. And this is the first priority because there's a courier and it's cheaper and it's closer. And it's so this will be the sub X pod, and it can get faster to you, and you would set it as your first priority, for example, and then the Canadian pod, okay, for example. So again, we really have all of the flexibility, and also I think an open channel with the community to discuss what suits everyone, what needs to change, what needs to be adjusted a little bit. And we are coming with a set of more developments pretty soon that will enable you to have farther terms to the spots that will help you with some kind of decision making that we need to make here. Another little thing, that we have some, for example, consortial pods. Those are not listed on that webpage because they're private. So we don't think that anyone can really try to get into them, but they're there. So, and if there's a reason to publish them, again, we can publish them. We can do whatever we want. So just to let you know. So these were my little two topics for this month. And if you have a topic that you would like me to discuss next month or any suggestion, I would love to hear it. If someone has questions on a particular topic that we can handle in this format, and that it's general enough so that we can also cover our other topics, then we can please send me a line. Again, we actually ran through this presentation, so I invite you to please use this time that we have to ask questions. I'm going to, if you're willing and very brave and you want to ask or comment, have unmuted you. And if you feel uncomfortable, of course, the Q&A is there for you also. And you can mute yourself if you feel uncomfortable and you want to remute.
Hi, Judith. It's Becky Smith from Memorial University in Newfoundland. I just wanted to share an experience we had in terms of we are in implementation mode. And when we first went into that, even though we were thinking that putting Rapido in implementation mode wasn't going to affect anything for us, we did find that with our Primo, it did actually, it may not have been the Rapido settings specifically, but some of the other Alma resource sharing settings that were needed. It ended up turning on links and turning on an ability for people to request stuff that we didn't anticipate. And we actually had a little bit of an issue of getting requests that shouldn't have been coming in through an Alma link. So in this implementation mode, so it was just a little bit of a, okay, let's be careful with some of the Alma configurations that are tied to Rapido and resource sharing in general.
Okay. Becky, I guess you've discussed this with the implementation team and probably sorted out what was happening. Usually, like if everything is, like if you're not coming from a Rapido offer, you're right. Again, there's always something that can happen. So thank you for raising this up. You really should be careful. I have to say that after many implementations we've done of, I think this is the first time I hear this, but still, thank you. You know, and if we find out that there's something that we need to fine tune, because really the implementation mode is the mode of going into Rapido for every and each customer. And we haven't, now we have more than 19 solutions in Rapido. So if we see something that we need to fix from our side, we will fix it, or in the instructions, you know, maybe something that we weren't clear enough, so that requests weren't created from there and going through Rapido. We need to see that. So that's
Yeah, it was a scenario of it turned through some of the other settings that we were configuring, it turned on the Alma resource sharing link, so it wasn't
the link. Yeah, the regular link, the regular Alma. You weren't using Alma resource sharing, and it turned on the. I understand the scenario.
Yeah, so that was just one little caution, especially if people are like us and weren't using Alma resource sharing prior to Rapido. That might be something to keep an eye out for.
No, definitely. And it's good that you went into detail on what was happening, because we need to make sure that when for someone that's not doing true Alma resource sharing, that as you said, that while making this new changes to configuration, you don't really want to see this coming, you know, you don't want to see the Alma link. For those that are already working on Alma, you want to keep the Alma link, right? So you want your patrons to continue to be able to place requests as they're used to. For those that are going to an external service, I don't know, whatever it is, Iliad or something, they shouldn't be seeing that link and suddenly receiving requests. So let me, Becky, thank you. I'm going to take a note here, okay? Because I think this is important.
And it was easily fixed. But it was just something that we didn't catch for a little while. And of course, because it hadn't been configured properly, people were placing requests for things that we don't allow them to place that type of request for. So a little bit of cleanup of that.
Okay.
It all got sorted. It was all good.
First of all, let me say I'm sorry for that inconvenience. And beyond that, you know, lesson learned. That's what I say. Like we for sure will make sure that this doesn't happen to another institution. So at least I'm taking it from the side. I'm sorry that you had to go through this, but we'll make sure that in the future, you know. So I think that that's the point of this topics that I'm bringing here, okay? Because you know, we really think that nothing should happen, and if you guys are brave, and thank you, Becky, to share these stories with us here, we'll be able to make this better for others. So thank you, Becky, for your comment.
Thank you.
Anything else? I am going to finish this. I'm going to move to you all because I'm hearing an echo. You still can write me something on the Q&A if you felt that you missed the opportunity. In any case, I want to thank you for coming from the webinar. Want to remind you of the Rapido list, the March 10 webinar for the resource sharing directory, and also the our next webinar, which I moved from the original date. So just make sure you, if you were registered, that you received an update, or register if you didn't, I don't know, but it moved from the 24th of March to the 23rd of March. So I hope to see you there, guys. And of course, I'll see many of you in between. And you know where you can find me. So thank you guys for attending and for participating. And we'll see you soon. Thank you.